Most men lose before the game even begins. Not because they lack strength, but because they show their hunger. The moment you reveal what you want, love, respect, status, you give others the map to control you. They know how to tempt you, how to delay you, how to break you. And once you are predictable, you are no longer dangerous. But there is another way, a colder way, a way where your silence builds power, where your calm makes others paranoid, and where your hidden ambition turns into the sharpest weapon. This is the cold ambition strategy. Part 1. Desire as a weakness. A man who reveals desire too soon disarms himself. The instant he confesses what he wants, whether power, love, or respect, he hands over a map. That map shows others where to press, where to manipulate, where to wound. And from that moment, he is predictable. And predictable men are easy to control. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. He wrote that a prince who exposes his intentions too clearly invites resistance. People rarely attack mystery, but they always attack weakness. Hunger is not punished until it is seen. Once visible, it becomes bait for others to dangle, delay, or use against you. Look around. The man who tells his boss, "I'll do anything for this job," is the man exploited. The man who tells a woman, "I can't live without you," is the one tested, toyed with, and eventually discarded. The man who admits, "All I want is respect," is the one mocked behind closed doors. The world is not neutral. It does not hear your ambition and applaud. It hears your ambition and asks, what will he trade for it? And that question marks the beginning of your leash. The cold ambition strategy does not say kill your desires. It says cloak them. Cloak them in silence, in stillness, in indifference. Let them burn privately, because a desire shown becomes a lever for others, but a desire hidden becomes leverage for you. This is why most men feel powerless. They confuse honesty with strength. They expose their hunger and call it connection. But exposure is not connection. It is surrender. The strategist does not confess, he cloaks, and by cloaking, he multiplies power. Part 2. The world punishes the hungry. From childhood, we are told that honesty is strength, that courage lies in declaring what we want, that if we want something badly enough, the universe will deliver. But history does not reward hunger. It punishes it. Machiavelli warned that a ruler should never reveal his true intentions. Not because concealment is dishonest, but because exposure is fatal. The moment others know what drives you, they no longer need to attack you directly. They only need to withhold what you seek. The job applicant who says, "This means everything to me," is the one offered the lowest pay. The lover who admits, "You're my whole world," becomes the one tested and toyed with. The politician who loudly declares every ambition is the easiest target for rivals who now know exactly where to strike. Revealed hunger is not strength, it is leash, and leashes are always pulled. But the cold ambition strategy does not demand you erase desire. It demands you guard it like a fortress. Let it burn inside like fire behind glass. Bright, fierce, but contained. Intense enough to fuel you, invisible enough to protect you. The man who feels deeply but reveals little always overpowers the man who reveals everything but feels shallow. Because the first man cannot be read, and unpredictability, not passion, is the weapon that survives. Everywhere, men live inside cages built by their own mouths. They tell friends their goals, then suffocate under those expectations. They confess love too quickly, then live in emotional captivity. They share ambition too openly, and suddenly they are delayed, undermined, mocked. The fool believes expression builds connection. The strategist knows expression builds vulnerability. And in a world eager to exploit weakness, that knowledge makes all the difference. Part 3. The power of silence. The most powerful presence in any room is not the loudest voice. It is the quietest one. The figure who speaks rarely, explains little, and leaves others wondering what he thinks. Silence unsettles. When a man offers no script, people invent one for him. They project fears, hopes, suspicions, and those projections are often more powerful than any truth he could have revealed. Machiavelli understood this. A ruler who justifies every decision invites argument. A ruler who keeps his reasoning hidden creates hesitation. Enemies fear what they cannot predict. Allies respect what they cannot fully grasp. Consider two men at the same table. One announces his ambitions, explains his motives, defends his choices. The other listens, nods, and reveals little. By the end, the talkative man has given away leverage. The silent one has gained mystique, and mystique is often mistaken for strength. In dating, the same law applies. The man who overshares too quickly drains mystery, and with it, attraction. But the man who reveals himself piece by piece, with restraint, creates tension. Curiosity makes her lean closer. Uncertainty keeps her engaged. Silence is not emptiness. It is intrigue. In leadership, updates and explanations may calm followers, but too much disclosure breeds resistance. Teams begin to question, to push back, to test boundaries. Yet the leader who reveals little creates anticipation. His people wonder what comes next. Anticipation fuels momentum. The cold ambition strategy is not about withdrawing from the world. It is about wielding silence as a weapon. Each word, when rare, carries more weight. Each pause unsettles more than speeches. Power is not gained by filling the air. It is gained by letting the air grow heavy around you. The fool fears silence and fills it with words. The strategist uses silence to make the world listen harder. Part 4. When to reveal, when to conceal. Silence is power, but silence without precision can become weakness. A man who hides everything looks like stone, cold, unreadable, but also untrustworthy. A man who reveals everything looks like glass, transparent, predictable, and easy to shatter. The strategist learns to move between the two. Controlled revelation is as important as concealment. In negotiation, revealing a fraction of your desire anchors the discussion, but never the whole figure. In leadership, showing a glimpse of passion can inspire trust, but exposing vulnerability invites doubt. In relationships, admitting attraction creates connection, but confessing desperation destroys respect. The rule is simple: never reveal without leverage. If your words strengthen your position, then speak. If your words weaken it, remain silent. Machiavelli advised rulers that it was not essential to possess every good quality, only to appear as though they did. Appearance, when carefully chosen, is strategy. Revelation, when careless, is surrender. Think of a general before battle. He does not announce his entire plan to the enemy. He reveals enough to rally his men, but never enough to give opponents an opening. A strategist in life must do the same. This balance is what separates the fool from the tactician. The fool believes authenticity means full exposure. The strategist knows authenticity means disciplined control, revealing enough to guide perception, concealing enough to protect power. Cold ambition is not about silence for silence's sake. It is about timing. Knowing when a word will bend the room and when silence will force it to bend on its own. Because in the game of power, concealment without revelation creates suspicion. Revelation without concealment creates weakness. But the right balance creates authority. Part 5. The myth of effortless power. The most dangerous figure is not the one who declares, "I will rise." It is the one who rises while appearing indifferent. When power looks effortless, it creates psychological gravity. People orbit it. They adjust to it. They obsess over it. And that obsession is more powerful than admiration. Julius Caesar understood this well. He never begged for Rome's approval. He carried himself as though Rome already needed him. His ambition was vast, but he cloaked it beneath calm authority. By the time rivals recognized his true intentions, it was already too late. The same pattern echoes in modern life. Steve Jobs did not plead for validation. His cold certainty made others chase his vision, even when they doubted it. His silence and indifference forced the world to interpret his confidence as inevitability. This is the paradox of ambition. Hunger displayed looks like desperation. Hunger, hidden, looks like destiny. The man who builds quietly, while others broadcast loudly, creates the illusion that success simply gravitates toward him. That illusion is more terrifying than force, because it makes resistance feel futile. People envy the man who appears to move without effort. They don't envy the man sweating for every inch. Effort invites competition. Effortless power creates awe. The cold ambition strategy is not about laziness. It is about restraint. Work as hard as anyone, but reveal none of the strain. Build with precision, but show no urgency. Let others see outcomes, not the grind. Because when results arrive without visible struggle, people stop questioning whether you will succeed. They start wondering how far you can go. And once that question lodges in their minds, they supply the answer for you. The fool demands recognition. The strategist lets recognition chase him. Part 6. Emotional slavery and the prison of words. Most men are not crushed by enemies. They are undone by their own mouths. They announce their ambitions too early. They confess their feelings too quickly. They explain their plans too openly. And with every word, they hand someone else the lever to control them. Friends mock their dreams under the mask of advice. Bosses exploit their eagerness by dangling false promises. Lovers play with their longing once they realize the depth of dependence. Even family members, without malice, pull them back, because exposed ambition awakens comparison, and comparison breeds resistance. This is the quiet trap of emotional slavery. A man believes that speaking makes him brave, that sharing makes him real. But in Machiavellian terms, it makes him readable. And what can be read can be manipulated. Consider the employee who tells his manager, "I'll do anything for this promotion." He is not respected. He is used. Consider the friend who announces, "This dream means everything to me." He is not supported. He is doubted, even envied. Consider the lover who declares, "I can't live without you." He is not cherished. He is tested. The more a man speaks of his hunger, the more invisible strings bind him. He believes he is building connection, but he is building a cage. Each confession becomes a bar. Each explanation, another lock. The cold ambition strategy offers escape. Stop handing away the keys. Guard your fire. Hold your plans in silence. Let your results speak when finished, not your words before beginning. Because when a man stops asking to be understood, he stops being controlled. And when he no longer explains his ambition becomes unstoppable. The fool builds his prison out of words. The strategist builds his fortress out of silence. Part 7. Closing. Fortress of Fire. Desire makes you human, but expressed desire makes you vulnerable. The moment the world knows what you want, it owns your leash. Tell a woman, "I can't live without you," and she knows she can wound you by leaving. Tell your boss, "I'll do anything for this promotion," and he knows he can stretch you thin without fear of losing you. Even friends and family, without meaning harm, begin to resist once they see your hunger, because revealed ambition stirs insecurity, and insecurity always pushes back. Machiavelli warned rulers not to reveal intentions, not only to their enemies, but to everyone. People betray not because they are always malicious, but because they are weak. And weakness exploits vulnerability the way fire consumes dry wood. The cold ambition strategy is simple. Want with intensity, but want in silence. Burn with ambition, but burn behind glass. Build without announcing. Rise without explanation. Let the world feel your heat without ever seeing the flame. Because the man who appears to need nothing eventually receives everything. And the man who reveals his hunger spends his life being fed crumbs by those who understood him too well. This is the Machiavellian paradox. You can want everything, but you must look like you need nothing. The moment your craving becomes visible, you are no longer the hunter, you are the hunted. Cold ambition does not kill desire, it protects it. It transforms it into an invisible weapon. And in a world screaming its wants into the air, the man who stays silent becomes myth. And myths cannot be used. They cannot be trapped. They cannot be conquered. They can only be feared. That is the fortress. That is the fire. That is the strategy.